anyone wants to jump in, just know that it's being recorded, but you can turn off your cameras, you can turn off your microphones, and just chill and watch whatever you'd like to do. But Trenton and I will just have this conversation, and I will keep an eye on the Facebook page in case anyone has any questions or wants to interact that way. So, Trenton, I were wanting to get to know you first just a little. I mean, as much as you want to share, honestly. We would love to know what you're that you're an author. You can tell us a little bit about your life as much as you want to share. That what inspired you to write this book, and you can talk about what it's about, and you can talk about whatever you want that's in relation to that. But that's what I'm interested in is just you and what made you want to write this book for us.
Okay, awesome. So I grew up in Utah. I've lived in Utah most of my life, except a couple years in Brazil, and then my career took me to Illinois for a while. It took me to California for a little bit, and I'm back in Utah again. I grew up in a small town called Elmo, Utah, and yes, I do a pretty mean Elmo impersonation. I don't know if that's a
you certainly can go for it. Whatever you want. We love it. Anything you feel like, it's fine.
Maybe Elmo will show up.
Okay, good. Surprise us.
Okay.
Where's Elmo? Where is it? I've never heard of that.
It's in Emery County. So it is it's about 20 miles south of Price, Utah. Okay. And but I live in Sevier County now. With my job with Utah State University, I moved over here in about 2018, which I'll talk about in a minute. But what really kind of got me going was, as I was, it starts back in high school. I was a math geek. I liked math. I was good at it. And, when you have those conversations in high school about what you want to be, I was like, well, I'm really good at math and I actually kind of like it. So what could I do with math? Yeah. And the first thing that really came to my mind was accounting. And so I took an accounting class in high school, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was fun to see when I put all these receipts into this spreadsheet, and all of a sudden I added everything up and it balanced. This side balanced with this side. It was just exciting to me, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. So I went into I went to school for accounting. I got a bachelor's degree in accounting. And I worked in accounting for about 13 years. Worked for Marriott for a while, for about 7 years. And that's what took me to Illinois and to California. And when we were in California, we had some life challenges that were going on. And, my oldest child would not speak in school, had selective mutism, was going into the third grade the next year and hadn't spoken to anybody in school. And then my infant child was about a month old and spit up and aspirated on it and almost died. And so we were like, you know what, we're going to go back to Utah, put my oldest child in their grandma's third grade class, because she was a third grade teacher at the time. And we knew that she would talk to her grandma. And so we went back to Utah. I left Marriott. And this was right at the time of the Great Recession in 2008, 2009. And so needless to say, I got a lot of job search experience. And I got really good at it. And I found some mentors. I found some people that could teach me how to do this. And eventually I got to a place where I was starting to teach people. I tell people I became a professional job seeker.
Wow, yeah.
And I started teaching people how to find jobs.
That's cool. So, you would not have thought those. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
Oh, that's okay.
But you would not think in the time what it's such a trial, and it's so frustrating and annoying. Yeah. And I hate doing this, but you would never think that fast forwarding a couple of years down the road that you would actually be grateful. That's
Yes.
that's how these trials usually are, it seems like. Anyway, I
Yeah.
just that's what I think.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
one thing I learned through the process is that I'm a I do like working with people, and accountants are not known for working with people. We're working with numbers in a cubicle, and you
Yeah.
know, and I had experiences with my last job with Marriott that kind of helped me recognize, oh, I actually like going to talk to the people that I need to talk to. And
Mm,
so there was that, kind of opened that up a little bit. But as I was job searching, I started looking at marketing. I started looking at, the career coaching aspect of things. And I was like, okay, this would be great. So I like started going to the Department of Workforce Services almost every day to
mm,
go to their classes and go to their job clubs and talk to people. And eventually I started teaching classes there. I just jumped my into the job club and said, hey, I want to teach this subject. Would you guys let me do that? And they're like, oh yeah, we'd love to have you come and teach about this. And so I started teaching stuff, and eventually people, they were like, hey, Trenton, we've got job postings, you should apply for it. And so I got a job with the Department of Workforce Services and worked my way, worked for them for about 4 years. In the process, I moved to Price, from the Provo Spanish Fork area. And in Price, it's a very coal driven economy. Everything is coal, coal, coal. For historically, it's changing a little bit, but and at the time, coal mines were closing, power plants were closing, and it was a tough thing. And coal miners make 30 to 50 bucks an hour. And they would come into the Department of Workforce Services and say, hey, I lost my job, I need some help. And I'd be like, well, Walmart's hiring, Pizza Hut's hiring,
yeah.
you know, and that's all I could tell them.
Yeah.
But I would always ask them the question, have you ever thought of starting a business? And a lot of the times they'd be like, oh yeah, I have. And because I was with the Department of Workforce Services, I couldn't help them start businesses, but I would say, go talk to this guy over at the Small Business Development Center. He can help you get going. He can help you get started. So eventually I was like, you know what? I can't help people the way I want to. And so I left my job with the Department of Workforce Services. In my book, I talk about the Steve Harvey quote about jump. You know,
Mm.
it's a really cool video if you've never seen it. All you
No,
have to
I'm
do
gonna have
is,
to write it down, and I'm sure I might have seen it, but I'm gonna
yeah,
wanna look it up. Tell us what it is. Is it just, you said it's Steve Harvey?
yeah. If you just go to YouTube and do Steve Harvey jump,
Okay.
it's pretty cool. And that just kind of was like, normally as a career coach, I don't tell people just quit your job and go start your business. That's not a good plan
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
But I felt that that was what I needed to do. And so I did it, and I jumped, and
Mm.
I started my business. And working with people who are unemployed and want to start a business usually is not a very lucrative place to be. And so I wasn't making a lot of money. And eventually I got a part-time job with the university. But what I was doing, I was connecting with the Small Business Development Center, things that they don't do for people, like write business plans, or there are certain things like that. They were starting to refer those to me.
Mm.
And I really got to work with them a lot. I got to work with other community people. And the guy that ran the Small Business Development Center eventually, when I wasn't making what I needed to make to sustain my family, he's like, hey, Trenton, the university just got funding for a new program, and they're hiring. I can't tell you a lot about it, but I'm on the hiring committee.
Yeah.
So you need to go apply for this job.
Awesome.
And so I went in and looked at it, and it's almost exactly what I was doing with my business.
So,
So the job that I'm doing right now, I've got a good steady income. I've got benefits. And at the time I was separated, but now divorced, and so it provides the stability that I need to be able to have that job, but it's
Yeah.
something that I love. And
Totally.
now I'm starting to like, okay, I want to get into this personal coaching and stuff like that. So getting now to the book,
Yeah.
the book is kind of my experience of changing from an accountant to a career coach and being able to discover why accounting was fine, but it wasn't my passion. And then moving into something that just makes me really excited to be able to help people with their
Yes, I
job.
love that. That'll be helpful. Okay, I've got my notes ready. That's good. That's really good.
So yeah, and so the being able to, what happened with the book was I started writing blogs about, careers and stuff like that. And there happened to be one blog that just took off on LinkedIn. It was, I wrote most of my blogs on LinkedIn, and
Mhm.
this one just got a lot of traction. It was the 10 steps to finding your purpose. It was basically the part of the book. And when I got this job, I moved here and I went to a right here in Ephraim conference at Snow College. They don't do it anymore, but it was just a bunch of authors who get together and talk about books they're writing or whatever. And I went there as part of my job. I was like, you know what, writing is a good remote work opportunity for people. And so I want to go connect with these people. And while I was there, they read parts of what they were writing. And I was like, well, I don't have any, well, I got a blog, I can read a blog. So I read the blog and the lady's like, oh, you should write a book about that. And so I did.
Nice. That's so cool.
So,
That's a lot of you could have 10 chapters, right?
yep,
Is that what you
yep,
do? 1 chapter per item, per tip.
yep.
Okay, very good. So, depending on how you feel, I mean, whatever you wanna share, we're happy to hear whatever. If you wanna just give us a couple of tips, or if you wanna give us the 10, and then we could and if someone wants to learn more about it, they obviously we'll wanna get the book,
Mhm.
or reach out to you, but you just could share whatever part of the book that you think would be helpful, just to get us excited
Okay.
about getting the book. I wanna get the
Okay, awesome. So, yeah, so I'll quickly just read through the 10 steps,
Okay.
or the 10 parts of it, just so you can kind of know what the book's about, and then we'll kind of dive into some of them and help for those that may be watching this or watch it later or something like that. It might be good to, go through some of the process.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like to do when I have opportunities like this, I can go on to Amazon and I can turn on, like I can do like a day where people can download the audio version or the ebook version
Oh, yeah.
for free for a day. So I'll do that after this meeting. I'll go turn that on. It'll probably be, I think I have to put it by a date, so I'll put it for tomorrow's date, and then I'll get you that link. So,
Yeah.
you can share that on your sites.
24
So
hours.
people will have tomorrow to get the free ebook if they want.
So cool. I love it. Thank you. That's awesome.
So the first step in this process is to know thyself. Just knowing who you are. What do you believe about yourself? Uh, what do you see? What are your strengths? Understanding who you are and where you came from and stuff like that. So that's kind of a quick thing there. Your true nature is the second thing. I've taken a lot of personality tests. I know of a lot of different systems of personality or strengths or something like that. One that really kind of stood out, that has given me a lot of understanding or anything like that is Carol Tuttle's It's Just My Nature.
Hmm.
I think she's well known in a lot of the circles of personal development and professional development. So, but that's a system that I think is really pretty interesting because it's not just your personality; it's kind of your your energy profile is what it
Nice.
kind of is. It's more you're born with these traits, and but she talks, there's a lot of science behind it as well, so it's really kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
um
That's
the
good.
third one is, what is your question? um That comes from a speech that Michael Wesch, a professor at K-State University, gave at BYU in a forum talk. And it's pretty awesome. It's an awesome talk about, finding what question drives you. So learning what is it that drives you in life? What are your curiosities? Different things like that. Number 4 is
how do you... Can you give me an example of what would be a question that, did you put that in the book, an example? I'm curious, what would be a question that would come up? What drives?
So one example, so I'll just go to his talk. One example is there was this kid that he was kind of a lower level student, wasn't a great student in high school or anything like that. And one day he just, he realized that he wanted to be a game designer. And so once he kind of made that decision and realized, oh, this would be really cool, he started looking into it. And he realized that as a game designer, you need to know history, you need to know math, you need to know engineering, you need to know all of these other things. And so suddenly just piquing his interest in what he wanted to do with his life made it so that he became a better student. He really, so the question was, how can I become a game designer?
Well, another way of saying that is, what is your why? I hear that all the time.
Yeah, what is your why? Yeah. And Michael Wesch, so he's an anthropologist, and he tells the story of when he was going to school, and he was kind of doing his, I guess, his research stuff to get his PhD or whatever. He ended up going over to Indonesia, and he's just like, I just wanted to get as far away from civilization as possible. And so he took a flight to Indonesia, and then took another small flight and another small flight, and then, ended up walking for a certain amount of time and ended up in this little tribe. And he talked about, that it was one of the hardest things he'd ever done, but it was part of his why. It was part of his quest.
Yeah.
The question has the word quest in it. And what quest are you trying to fulfill in your life? What is it that you are trying to achieve by, what you do with your career, what you do in your life, what interests you have, what the ways you exercise even. I've found that I had to find the right exercise system for me to be like, oh yeah, this is fun, I love it. Because if I just do stuff that I think I like or what other people like, sometimes I'm like, I couldn't be the gym bro that just goes and works out by myself. I need some hooping and hollering and some fun stuff with other people and team projects and so anyway, just being able to know what drives you, and that's your question, that's your quest in life. So
very good.
And then number 5
is
4. Yeah, well, I think I started to go 4, but I didn't. So 4 is, how do you learn? So understanding your learning styles, because when you are trying to find a career, when you're trying to find a job or start a business or something like that, we all learn differently. I believe that everybody has their own genius. I worked for a bronze foundry a while back, and I worked with a lot of artists who are very creative, and almost all of them failed in school. All of the subjects that you would say, oh, this is a smart kid, they didn't do well in school because of just the way their brain works. But there's one in particular that just struggled with almost anything, spelling, any kind of numbers, anything like that. But he was the patina artist at this bronze foundry, which means that he's taking the finished bronze and he's like changing the colors, he's making it look old, he's making it look, he can paint pictures even on bronze
Wow.
with chemicals and heat. And
Wow.
sometimes you don't see the colors come out until it cools down. And so he's painting pictures basically blindly. But the guy's a genius artistically. If you put any kind of art medium in front of him, he's going to make a masterpiece out of it. And the other thing with he's probably a master chemist. But
Yeah.
if you give him a test on what he does, playing with these chemicals and how they interact with the bronze and stuff like that,
Mhm.
you give him a test, he's going to fail it. But you ask him, okay, well, what did you just spray on there, and what's that doing to the bronze? He's going to tell you. He's a genius when it comes to that particular thing. And so,
Oh
how do
yeah.
you learn?
Yeah. So
You
Clifton,
know,
is it the Clifton test that helps you with that? Have you ever taken that
oh,
test?
the Strengths Finder.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that
That's
one's
a good
that
way.
one's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yep, and being able to focus on those strengths and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So number 5 is skill building. Once you kind of know yourself a little bit more, then and you know how to learn, that's when you can start to say, okay, I need these skills to do this job.
Yeah.
What am I lacking? Where can I learn? What can I do that will improve? Um, and a lot of the times, if you're starting a business, sometimes you don't know how to start a business, or you don't know how to do the marketing, or you don't know how to do, certain aspects of starting a business. And so you're now able to find out, okay, what skills do I need to be able to make this happen?
Yeah.
Or what skills do I need to get this job? And
I
so that's,
Good one. Evaluate. So, I like that. Anyway, my motors are turning. I'm just thinking of someone who wants to build their skills, might want to look at other people that are doing what they're doing and watch them and see what are their skills that they have, and what can I work on to be where they are, maybe.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and it's funny because in our class that we teach with Utah State, one of the things we talk about sometimes is mentors.
mm,
And we'll ask the question, how many here have a mentor? And most of the people they don't raise their hands because they don't understand what a mentor is.
ah,
And in the book, I have a little chart. It kind of breaks out mentoring, and there's indirect and direct mentoring. Indirect mentoring comes when you find a YouTube video of somebody. So the Michael Wesh, I've never met Michael Wesh. He was teaching a bunch of people at BYU a while back, and I stumbled on this talk, and he's become one of my best mentors. He
yeah.
was mentoring me indirectly. Um, Direct mentoring is, a conversation like we're having now. And, you find somebody that can show you or teach you or something like that. And, I joke when we do have this conversation in our classes with the Utah State program, I always say, yeah, Jordan is my golf and my fishing mentor
Yeah.
because he's really good at both.
Yeah, that's
And
cool. Yeah.
and so if mentoring doesn't have to be anything crazy, but
Yeah.
then we also have intentional and unintentional mentoring.
Mm,
So that's the mindset going into it. So if I'm seeking out learning, if I'm going to the YouTube channel, or if I'm asking somebody, hey, can you tell me how to do this? Can you teach me this? That's an intentional interaction. That's intentional mentoring. Unintentional is, I quit my job and there was this recession going on, and I wasn't trying to change a career. I wasn't trying to learn how to be a career coach. I wasn't trying to be a professional job seeker, but it happened. I
yeah.
learned from it. It was an unintentional
Intentional.
mentoring experience that I received. And so, you can get mentors out of books, you can get mentors out of all sorts of things, but that's one of the best ways to skill build is, finding somebody who can teach you.
That's so good. That's good. I like it.
So number 6 is put yourself in the right place at the right time. Um, and this is a really good one for the singles community. I see in,
Mhm.
I'm like only in one singles group on Facebook because I'm like too shy to talk to the girls that I know, and
Yeah.
and so I'm like, I'm not ready to go in all
Yeah.
out online dating stuff yet.
Yeah.
But the so put yourself at the right place at the right time is finding ways to get out of your comfort zone and go do something. Our community actually has a square dancing group, and
Wow.
a lot of the singles in our area have said, "Hey, let's go do this square dancing thing." So we're all, we becoming better friends
Yeah.
by going to this square dance and learning how to square dance.
That's cool.
Um, when I first moved here, I think I mentioned that I was separated at the time. And so being separated, I couldn't socialize. I couldn't go out and intentionally meet people and stuff like that. I had to be in a safe environment. So that's when I started going to CrossFit, because that's a safe social environment that I was putting myself in the right place at the right time. Um, Starting a little a cappella group. That was one of my ways of, I got to get out of the house. I got to connect with people. I got to make friends. I got to do this. So there are things that I was doing. But with a career, go to the city council meetings, go to the commissioner meetings, go to, other activities in the community, instead of just sitting there saying, "Oh, I don't know anybody,"
Yes.
you know. And
Just
with
stay
a
right
career,
here. Yes. It's nice and safe. That's
yeah,
what we do, yeah. It's true.
and
Like,
with a career, go find the industry events that you're interested in. Go
yeah.
to the trade shows, go to find ways to go to these events where the people that can hire you or make you who you are, you're in the right place at the right time. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I started going to job clubs, and that's why I started doing stuff like that, and that's how the last 2 jobs I got, I told the story about people saying, "Oh, hey Trenton, by the way, we're hiring,"
Yeah. Yeah.
because I didn't just stick my foot in the door, I stuck my entire leg in the door. I
Yeah.
was in their face, I was at their events, I was in front of them, they got to know me. And putting yourself in the right place at the right time can bring you those opportunities that you're looking for.
Yes, that's so good. I think that's really a smart one. Making it happen, like, it's instead of just I just heard something earlier today that, sometimes we put all of our energy in, or all of our belief that God will provide for us, and then
Mhm,
what are we doing? What are our actions that we're doing to allow him to make those things happen for us?
mhm.
Pray for
Yeah.
opportunities, or we pray for doors to open up, and if we're not putting ourselves out there, like you're saying, putting yourself in these positions, then he can't really help you very much.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And the worst way to get a job is just going on the job boards and applying for the jobs.
yeah,
Absolutely the worst way to get a job, especially if it's something that you're passionate about and you're like, I have got to get this job because it just excites me so much. It's something
yeah,
that I really, really want to do. Go to Indeed and apply for the job. You're competing with hundreds of other people.
yeah,
But if you're like, okay, this company that I want to work for, this job that I want to work for, they're having an event over here, or they're going to be at this job fair, or they're going to be at this event, getting out of the house and going to talk to them will do, you know, a lot more
it's so
than
true.
just applying for the job.
Well, that's so true. That's
So,
good advice.
yeah,
Knock on their door and say, "Guys,
that's
here's my resume. You should pick me." I actually did that one time. I said, "I want to save you time."
yeah.
I want to save you time and effort. And so I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know I see that I could be a really great fit for what you're looking for, and
Mhm.
hired. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yep, yeah, knocking their doors, I've heard the term darken their door, you know.
yeah,
It's a powerful way to do it, and just showing up and saying, hey, how can I help you guys? I've got these opportunities and I just want to help. I want to be part of this team, but I want to help. I want to, volunteering to teach the the management at Department of Workforce Services a LinkedIn class.
yeah,
That's how you get yourself in the door.
good. That's good. Very good.
Number 7, fairly similar, but it's surround yourself with the right people. Um, there's I've since I heard it first from Dan Clark, who's a mentor. I think he was involved with the writing of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. I don't know exactly how he's tied to those, but it seems like when I went to the event that he was speaking at, they talked about that.
Oh,
He was the first person that I heard say that you are the average of the 5 people you're with. It's
oh,
almost become a cliche statement.
see, yeah,
It's just people say it all the time, but it's true. We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And so, surround yourself with the right people, get connected with people that can help you, that can coach you, that can mentor you, that can lift you up. If we spend all our time on the negative trains on Facebook or on social media, that's not lifting us very much.
yes,
Finding those people, who can I hang out with that's awesome.
yeah,
This thriving singles community, there's a bunch of awesome people in
yes.
there.
It's true.
So get yourself in
I
there.
love that's what I
There,
love about
there's
that community. They're good people to rub shoulders with for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's your plug for today.
Yeah,
It's-
it's a good one. Thanks.
So number 8 is create your success. Um, Kind of like what I've shared already. I when I'm looking for work, I will apply for jobs in the traditional way, or I'll find the job sites and apply for the jobs that's out there. But the best way to do it is just, like I said, stick your leg in the door,
Yeah.
create your success. If you're going to start a business, just start it. Just do something. Every day. I just recently read or listened to the book Atomic Habits, and
Yeah.
basically just start doing something every day. One step, one little habit, one little thing every day, that you want to work on towards that goal, and you'll create your success.
Mhm.
So uh yeah,
Okay. I'm
take
just
hold of
writing
your own.
notes. This is good. I need to read that book. You know that you are the third person this week that has brought up that book. I wonder if there's a message for me in that.
That's
Or,
kind of how I was. I think something it came up a couple times. Actually, a counselor of mine mentioned it or something like that, and I was like, oh, I gotta go look that up. And it just so happened the next week I was driving to St. George, and I thought, okay, instead of listening to music, which I usually do, I like to listen to music and sing along. But
yeah.
2.5 hours drive to St. George, that's a pretty good chunk of a book. So I decided to listen to the book on the way there and back.
I think I
And
need
it's
to do
pretty good.
that. I like to listen to. I feel like my time is more productive when I'm doing something in addition to listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Create your success. Atomic habit.
All right. So, and then number 9 is spread the wealth. So as you find success, as you learn something, once you've learned something, it's important to say, okay, I've learned this. Here, everybody, here's some tips, or here's some help, here's some ways to do this. So spreading the wealth, um, pay it forward. People that helped you, reach out to them, support them, endorse them, give them the kudos that they deserve. Make sure that you were the benefit that they gave you, you're sharing with other people. I
Yeah.
learned this really awesome trick, or, oh, you want to learn to golf? I have a friend. He used to be the golf pro at the golf course in Farron, Utah, and he's really awesome. He's a great coach. So, um, being able to say, this is who I learned this from, you should reach out to them. That's spreading
Yeah.
the wealth. It's making sure that abundance mentality is important. You mentioned, and I can't remember whether it was the pre-meeting conversation or whether it was kind of at the beginning, where there's been other business coaches and career coach and life coaches and stuff like that you've talked to. I believe in an abundance mentality. We're all out here for, to help each other. And if somebody does something better than I do, then by all means, I'm going to send them their direction.
Yes, that's my motto in life.
Yeah.
I consider myself a coach. I am a certified mentor, which is similar, but it's, in my opinion, or my experience with it, is that I will share what, if I have experienced it myself, tools or techniques or whatever,
Mhm.
and I can walk people through step by step certain things. But I love turning to coaches who have done extensive study and extensive experience, and
Mhm.
who can do a little more of that. I mean, I don't think that it's different levels. I just think it's different education. So
Yeah.
anyway, I agree. There's no competition out here. You're right. It's just helping each other, spreading the wealth.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah. And I had an experience a couple weeks ago with, um, so our county is starting to do these breakfast and business things where we can go and hear somebody talk about a business topic, and they feed us and all that. And so it's kind of a nice little thing. And a couple weeks ago, there was, the guy that presented is a business coach. He's a business consultant. And it was interesting because afterwards we were talking, and there was another friend of mine that was there. um, if I want to refer somebody to an accountant, he's the guy I send him to. And I'm like, okay. So we were talking, and he asked the question, so both of you are kind of business coaches. What's your niche, or what's your
it.
difference there? What's the
Yeah,
difference between the two? And
yeah.
I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And that question actually brought me a lot of clarity, because this guy, he likes to take businesses who are existing and look at what is holding them back from being even bigger and better, and
Mm.
stuff like that. So he's more of an existing business consultant. And I was thinking, because of my experience with career and with helping people define their purpose and understand what their strengths are and what they want to do, I'm more of that. Okay, we're planting this seed. What kind of seed are we planting? What kind of business do you want to start? What kind of career do you want? So I'm at the very beginning of a business, is kind of my expertise. And
So
it's, and so I'll help them get started. And I know all the resources to help a business get started. I know how to do all that. I personally, honestly, have never grown a business to six figures. I've never grown a business to seven figures. And,
yeah,
so that's not my strength, but I've helped a ton of people start businesses out of something that they love to do. And some of them are thriving, some of them are doing pretty good. And it's fun to see them go after their dream and their vision that way.
it's awesome.
So,
Yeah, you gotta have you define your forte or your niche. That's
mhm,
what's so helpful.
yeah.
Um, because that is where, like you said, the two of you sitting at the same table, there may be some that may feel like it's a little bit competitive, but there's,
Mhm,
you come to me if you're just starting, and if you've been running a business for years and
uh,
you want, after you've been running your new business for years, after Trenton helps you set it
mhm,
up, and you want to
yeah.
make it grow 5 years down the road, and then you go to this other guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And,
just
and this family's kind of interesting. They do those Scottish games where they're throwing logs and rocks and boulders and stuff.
Oh,
and his wife does CrossFit as well with me, and there are some things that she lifts more than I do.
yeah.
And
No, do you
so,
know?
I don't want to get on their bad side,
Yes. No,
He's a big guy too, so
awesome. I have this saying that I hear people hear me quoting a lot, that there are things we know and things we don't know, and
mhm,
things we don't know that we don't know. And
mhm,
everyone is that way. So some things that I don't know, it doesn't mean that I'm less intelligent than you who knows that about that specific subject. And we can't know everything. I don't know why that phrase to me was freeing. I wondered if
mhm,
there was a time when I felt like I needed to know everything, and if I didn't know
mhm.
it, I'm not smart enough.
Yeah.
So somehow I that really gave me some freeing
Mhm.
perspective to say, yeah, I don't know that, and I'm okay to say that.
Yeah.
And also knowing that I can be in a position where I do consulting work for small businesses, helping them set up their businesses online. That's one of the things
Mhm.
I do for a business. And I can help an executive. I can help a therapist he's a doctor and he's been studying for years about therapy, but he doesn't know anything about office management or client
Mhm.
relations or
Mhm.
billing or accounts
Mhm.
payable.
Yeah.
So I can come in and show them those things, but it's not because I'm smarter than them, you know. Anyway, I like that. We all have things to offer, and
Mhm.
I'm curious of all these things. It sounds like you really do help us hone in on what those strengths are by these personality tests, or by you have certain exercises in each of the chapters that gives us tips on how to find those.
Yeah, there are some, and I actually, because I've started to, uh, so I've got a couple classes at Snow College that are community ed classes,
Mm,
that I've established, and I actually have been working on a workbook that will probably eventually be, published as a resource that you can
nice.
purchase with the book. But yeah, there's a lot of, not all of them have something where I say you should do this or do whatever, but
Yeah.
almost all of them, yeah, almost all of them talk about things that you can do or resources that you can use to be able to do that step.
That's
So
awesome.
it's, yeah, so
That's
there are some activities, like the question one. There are 60 questions that I've written that,
oh,
that you could go through and answer all 60 questions and get to know yourself a little bit better.
yeah.
Um, so that's something,
You're
there are some activities that could be helpful for people as they
Yes,
go through
I
it.
love this. I love that kind of thing, Kate. And then I've interrupted you, so you weren't able to finish. What is number 10? I'm
Okay.
dying to know what
And
number 10
number
is.
10 is similar to spread the wealth, but it's more pass it on. That's when you become the mentor. That's when you become the public speaker. That's when you become the guru. You're getting, you know, people who do really well in their industry or in their niche, find ways to get out and teach other people. And
Yeah,
so that's where you become, and authors, especially self-published authors, don't make a ton of money off the book. If you can actually, um, get the book in the hands of the right people, you can become a speaker. You can, and
yeah,
you can become a consultant to people, or people will hire you as a mentor, and that's where the income really starts to happen.
excellent.
You might get lucky, you might strike it rich as far as, hitting the New York Times bestseller or something like that, but a lot of the times it's, people that write books, um, the income comes when you're out there talking and you're out there sharing your experiences, or you're doing some public speaking, or personal mentoring, or public mentoring, or something like that.
Yeah,
And so finding ways to get the word out is an important part of
that is so
this
good.
process.
And it's funny that you say that too, because I'm not doing this for publicizing my group. but this is a really good place. And I always look for opportunities to tell you guys that are in this group that if you have a message to share, reach out to me and let me help you share it, because
Mhm.
that is a really good way to share. And that's something that I always offer. I reached out to Trenton to find out what is it that you do and what is something that you can share with our group. And thankfully he was willing to come and share. So it's helpful for both of us.
Mhm.
And so just the last thing I want to say, and you can say more too if you have more to
Mhm.
say, but I just want to remind everyone, or just bring up what you mentioned earlier, that we can have access to your ebook. If you can give us access, if you want to do 24 hours or just a few hours, however you want to do that, let us know what is the best way, because I can share it not only with my group, but I could share it with other groups too if you want. If
Mhm.
you'd rather have them buy it, we can do that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just make it as exclusive to our group. But yeah.
Yeah. So normally it's $7.99 for the ebook, and then
Oh,
$11.99 for if you purchase it from Amazon.
okay.
Um,
What
the
are
the yeah. And I try to carry a few books myself, so I sell those for $10 plus shipping. And it costs, I think, $3.95 to ship a book, usually almost anywhere, because of the media, the media price of shipping. It's kind of a standard thing. So
That's cool. So, and you get your signature, your autograph.
yes,
That's good. So if you get a book straight from him, you get his autograph.
that's
That's
right. And I think basically if you find the book, so once you go on Amazon, and it's possible, I can't remember, it's possible that if you have Audible already, or not Audible, I haven't done the audio book yet, but if you have the where you the what is it, where you download the ebooks from Amazon, if you have a membership there, I think you might actually still be able to get the book for free or read it. But if you don't, then it's $7.99 normally. But I will turn that on, and I think it's just you turn it on for however many days you want to do the promo. So I'll just do tomorrow is the date. And if you should just find the book on Amazon, which I'll share the link with you, and you can put it on all your groups. They can get
I'll
the
just
book
put it in my
tomorrow.
group. I thought about that, Trenton. I mean, it is up to you really, but I think to make it exclusive to our Thriving Singles community, it might be better. And then we can share it with other groups on the next day. We can say to purchase it. I think we should just
Yeah,
make it exclusive to our group if that's okay. I mean, it's up to you,
yeah,
honestly. But I think anyway, I just feel like if we share it to the whole world for it to be free, then how do you make money?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and do a tip. But that's a good way, I think, to just make it exclusive for anyone in the group. So that's cool. I'm
yeah,
excited. I'm gonna get it. I mean, I could even get the soft bound one to I like having a paper copy of it to make
yeah,
notes, and so
yeah.
very good. Well, thank you, Trenton, for everything that you've shared with us. And is there any other message you would want to share with us? And I always try to come up with some kind of creative, I don't know, getting to know you question. It kind of wraps it up. But only thing I can think of is if you only had like 2 minutes to share one message with the entire world, what message would that be?
So I have a strong belief that many of the world's problems are because people are not happy in their career. You think about all the road rage, you think about, the domestic violence, you think about a lot of things. And if you look at it, how possible is it that it's because somebody wakes up in the morning, they don't want to go to work, they get in their car, they drive in traffic, they're angry about having to go work for this idiot that they don't like, doing this job that they hate.
Yeah.
They spend their entire day just to earn a paycheck. they come home, they're angry in the traffic again. They get home, they take it out on their spouse or their kids. They're frustrated. There's a lot of really,
Makes sense.
I don't know, there are things that if you were happy every day, you woke up and you thought, I get to go do this today, or I get to help these people, or I get to do that. Your road rage is probably going to be less. Your domestic abuse and violence is probably going to be less. Drug abuse. There's so many things that if people were actually doing what they really enjoyed doing,
Yeah.
some of those problems would probably thin out.
So good.
And
You,
so,
yeah. So do you help people who might be feeling like, I would love to start a business, but I'm not really sure what I can do. And you help
uh,
them get the confidence they need to do something that they love.
yeah. So, I was telling Sherry earlier before, in the pre meeting
Yeah.
about, that I, if I were to draw a picture of my ideal person, um, I went through it myself.
Oh, right. Yes, that's
It's-
that's right.
Yeah, it's the midlife crisis. I started a job out of high school, or I started a job out of college, and I got a degree, and I've been working in that for my whole life. But I've realized, when I was a kid, I wanted to do this, and I have never really pursued that. And I feel lost in life right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I love to help people. I, have a friend that just found out, he's been an electrician for ever since high school. He connected with somebody that took him in as a apprentice, and he learned electrical work, and he's been an electrician forever. And he's like, but I've never wanted to be an electrician. It's just
Oh,
what was there. And
oh,
he wants to be a counselor. He wants to be a school counselor.
nice.
And, he even got a bachelor's degree in um, human studies, and wants to become, wants to go get his master's degree and stuff like that. And so I just had a conversation with him today about it, and he
Oh,
bought my book. And
oh, good.
so he's going to go through that process. So just, I will help anybody who wants a career change, who needs a job, who wants to start a business. But the focus is, what is it that you are passionate about? What are you really good at? What would make you happy? What would make you energized every day to wake up and be able to say, I get to do this?
So good. Dream
That's
job. What is
that's
your dream job? If life
uh,
was, yeah, if you had no limitations, don't think of anything that I can't, or I don't know that yet, or I don't have whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, what would it
right.
be? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Very
Because
good.
I'll get you on the path,
Yeah.
and making it all the way down the path is I'll help you. Well, that's go through the process, and you will eventually get there. So
Nobility Road. Put you on the
mhm,
Nobility Road. That's
yes,
awesome.
that's right.
That's so good. So how can people reach out to you? Just, is that the very best way, just through Facebook? Or
Um,
you have a contact
yeah,
information?
Facebook's good. I can share my email. I'll share so my old business was Dream Coachers. So it's dreamcoachers.com, DreamCoachers, not catchers, but coachers at
Okay.
gmail.com.
Okay. Gmail.
So that's a good way to reach out to me. Again, Facebook. I check my email occasionally, but I am a cusper, Gen X cusper, and so
Is that what they
I,
call
I-
us?
yeah, I guess so.
I don't
And
always,
so
I'm not good at email either, if that's what that
yeah,
is.
so Facebook is a good way to reach out to me on Messenger, or connect with me, and LinkedIn as well. My LinkedIn profile is just linkedin.com/in/Trenton Willson, and it's Wilson with two L's.
Okay.
So
Okay.
LinkedIn's a great place. I do check that probably better as far as messages go than my email. So
That, you know what? I actually love LinkedIn. And it's
yeah,
something that I've been wanting to be part of more. It's just the more professional line, people, connections, networking, to
yeah,
be where you want to be, like you said, rubbing shoulders with people that you want to rub shoulders with. So
yes.
you're very good. Okay, I'm gonna go off and find 5 people to surround myself with.
Okay.
I don't. I have some incredible people that I surround myself with, but I thought that was really good advice. That the 5 people that you hang out with that's the average of
Mhm.
how you turn out, right?
Yes.
But it's because of all the words, it's the thoughts that they share, and it's the way their mentality and their perspectives, and that just rubs off on all of us, I
Yeah.
think. Really part of that. Anyway.
Yep. And how they got there, and are they bringing you up? Or are they bringing you down? That's that's and you don't have to get rid of your friends that bring you down or family that bring you down. Just try to spend more time with people that lift you up and bring you to where you want to be.
Yeah. Good advice. I love it. Well, thank you, Trenton. I
All right.
appreciate
You're welcome.
it. You have a good night,
All
and
right.
you all for listening. There's been a couple of people jumping in and out, but they can listen to. I'll keep it on there for 24 hours. I'll keep it through the day, and then we'll put it on my website where the people can have access to it to watch it later.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Sherry. It's been
Yeah.
fun to chat with you.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging. Okay. See ya.
Mhm. All right. Bye.